Alright guys, hope you're doing well. This is Rowlands here and I'm a nutritional balancing practitioner. And in this video I want to talk about healing and living. Because I think it's something that people sort of get a bit caught up in, a bit confused about, especially nutritional balancing. And I think it's totally understandable. And something I just sort of want to touch upon on here, because I think it's going to really help a lot of people, because I see some sort of pitfalls people stumble into, and I've been there myself. So yeah, just wanted to talk about healing and living. The main reason I want to make them distinctions is because when you start the nutritional balancing program or the development program, you get this massive program, and it's your practitioners saying do 2 enemas a day, do sauna, do 1 hour pushing down, take naps in the day, do reflexology, try and see a chiropractor, all this sort of stuff, and it can feel like a full-time job. And in reality, in the beginning, it is like a full-time job, and that's something that I'm not going to deny. That's something I've experienced myself, because when you are in them initial stages of healing, the people join the program not because they want to develop this idea of development. They're not joining it for that. They're joining it to heal. Everyone joined it in the beginning to heal. I don't think I've met anyone who says they've joined the program because they've heard about this idea of development and they want to do that. So yeah, most people start the program, everyone starts the program in order to heal. Now, from my experience, people who are ill, it's hard to heal. And I think looking at the nutritional balancing program and seeing how much there is to do is sort of like a testament of how difficult it is to heal, or to put that in a different way, there's so many aspects to the program. When I looked at the program and I was really, really ill and I saw all of this stuff, in the beginning I was like, oh my god, is this what you've got to do to heal? But on another level I was thinking, wow, well, no wonder I've not managed to heal properly in the past, because clearly it's way, way, way more complicated and in-depth than just following a diet or getting some exercise or taking some supplements. Clearly this guy, Dr. Wilson, has understood that it takes way more to heal, and this is what's needed in order to heal. And in many ways I was relieved, because I was thinking, well, finally, at least, yeah, there's a lot more to heal than I expected, but on another level I'm kind of glad I found it, because it just shows that I'm not kind of going crazy, getting out of this and really complex mess that I'm in actually is gonna need a sort of complex program to get me out of it. So in the beginning, it's a lot of work, there's a lot of rest, there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of detox, and I personally think that you need to go through that. That's something, sorry that if the video's pretty bad on this one, there's a lot of sun in my eyes. So I personally think that you need to really just kind of settle in for the long haul in the beginning, and it's definitely not easy. You've kind of got to find a job that's relaxing. Often you've got to move away from friends that were toxic for you. You got to try and go to bed earlier, because usually people are used to staying up till midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4 a.m. And it can seem really claustrophobic, and in many ways it is, because it's not natural for a human to be like that. But we've got to do unnatural things in order for us to heal. It's just part of the parcel. That's just what you've got to do. If you're really, really ill, you're really out of balance on one level, you got to go to the other side, which kind of means something that's in one way unbalanced too, but it's the opposite of what you've been doing, and you got to do that for a while. Now, a lot of people just, and yeah, it's understanding. And what I want to say to people is that once you've done that, once you've started to heal, once you've started to get your energy back, once you've started to, and you can even do this to an extent in the initial stages, but it is really, really important to start to live as well. And Dr. Wilson does talk about this in his articles, but I appreciate that probably it needs to be said a little bit more or a little bit clearer. You've kind of got to dig around the articles a little bit. He says it a little bit he says it in the lifestyle articles, and then you read more articles about family and friends and all this sort of stuff. But it is important to live, because at the end of the day, what makes you happy is living a human life, just like what makes a fish happy is living in the sea. What makes a human happy is living a human life. But in the beginning, it's difficult to live a human life because there's so much healing to take place, and you need to respect that, and you need to sort of enjoy your own company and put up with the fact that you might be staying in for long periods of the day, doing your coffee enemas, doing your saunas, doing your pulling down. But once you've started to get some energy back, and it can take a while, do you know what I mean? We're talking sometimes 2, 3, 4 years, unfortunately, but that's just nothing to do with the program. It's nothing to do with the program, it's to do with how sick people are. It's just unfortunate. Dr. Wilson said that in the 80s, I think, or early 90s, 4 lows was unheard of. No one was ever in 4 lows. It was only like business executives that was flying around the world, that you'd see 4 lows. And, he used to say if you got adrenal burnout, probably take 1 to 2 years to fix. Then in the 90s, started seeing more people in 4 lows, housewives, general guys doing work. And then it went up. The adrenal burnout went from like maybe 2 years to 3 years. And then it got worse. In the 2000s, it was even worse, And then nowadays, we're seeing babies born in 4 lows, and it's taking 4, 5, 6 years for people to overcome adrenal burnout. And I see a lot of people get frustrated with the program, and calling it various different things. And in reality, what they don't realise is that there's nothing wrong with the program. If you was living in the 80s or early 90s, it would have been much quicker for you to heal. But unfortunately, we're living in unprecedented times of sickness. People have got no idea how sick the population is compared to even 10 years ago. It's absolutely unbelievable. So people get really frustrated with the program 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line, most people 6 months down the line, blaming the program, calling it various different names, this, that and the other. And the reality is, one, we're living in unprecedented times of toxicity, which merges into point 2. It's going to take a long time for you to get over it. And which merges into point 3 is you've got to do things that are just unnatural, which is staying in and resting and having naps. I mean, I went to Thailand. I realised after about 6 or 7 months the absolute mess that I was in, and I was thinking, there's no way I'm going to get myself out of this unless I remove myself away from the situation I was in. So that's what I had to do. And I see some of my clients, and I just know that they've got to do certain things that I had to do. One client of mine recently, she'll probably know who it is. She's been doing the program now maybe 1-2 years, and she's recently moved somewhere which has got her away from EMF sensitivity, EMFs. And I say, look, the program's not gonna. You've got to get away from EMFs, and then the program can, you can move forwards. And she's done that, and a test has improved so much because she's managed to get away from the EMF frequencies, and the test has increased. So a lot of people do the program. They've got EMF sensitivity, for example. They don't actually get themselves move house or move jobs or whatever to get themselves away from the EMF frequencies, and then they'll just sort of blame the program doesn't work, and in reality it takes a hell of a lot of work in order to heal. Now, moving on to my next point, which is living. you've got to realise that a human being, what makes you happy is to live. To live means to experience, to go out in nature, to be with good quality friends. Think about quality of life, living in good environment, being financially stable, enjoying yourself, going to events. Like, this is living. You have to live, or you're just going to be miserable. And a lot of people fall into the trap of all you've got to do is stay in and do the program all day, every day, even when you've healed, in order to be happy and healthy, and have a good quality of life. And this is where you've got to make sort of you can come to a bit of a crossroads, really, because once you've healed, you've got sort of three options. The first option is just sort of forget about the program, in a sense, and go and just live your life, whatever. The second part is, and I think this is more what Dr. Wilson's done, and this is completely up to you whether you want to do it or not, is sort of more of a monastic life, more like a bit of a modern day monk, where you are staying in more times than not, and you make sure you're doing the program 110%, and you strive to move towards this idea of development, which is a confusing term, and it is hard to figure out how Larry Wilson lives his life because of the website. It's challenging to understand how he sort of goes about it, but I know, we know that he goes out and about, and we know that he meets friends, we know that he goes to restaurants and meets people, he goes to the local farmer's market, he gets himself out of the house, he goes for walks in nature. So he's not a recluse. Do you know what I mean? He's not a recluse, and I understand it's challenging for people to realise how to live your life when you're reading articles on a website. It's a little bit like trying to understand the Bible. You can only understand it to a certain degree because you're just reading text on paper, and that's where sometimes my knowledge can be more beneficial, because I've been doing this for 8 years. So I've gone through loads of different things, loads of different thoughts, doubts, trying things out, doing this, doing that, and I found that there comes a point where you've got to combine the nutritional balancing and development program with living, and that this is what Dr. Wilson does, combines the two. So in the beginning, it's a lot to do with rest and rejuvenation, and you might have to cut yourself away, and a lot of challenges, moving house, changing friends, moving jobs. But after a while, you get to a point where you're you're not healthy, but you are healthy. You've got a degree of health. You can go out, you can do things, you've got energy, you can be in relationships, and then it's up to you to live. So I had to figure out, what's the optimum way for a human to live? Well, it's being around good friends, it's doing things you enjoy, it's being out in nature, it's being creative in one way or another. It's starting to do things that maybe you've not done for various different reasons, like making art, playing music, being with family. So all of this healthy stuff that you can now do, being of service, all of this healthy stuff that you can now do, but you merge it with the program, and that's what Dr. Wilson does. He lives, but he also does the program at the same time. So it's not about sort of getting to a point in your healing journey and just saying, oh my God, like this program, I just stay in all the time and I don't do anything. It's like, no, like, you're not supposed to do that. If you need to heal, it's a good idea to stay in, but if you get into a point where you've got your energy, and even you can do a little bit in the beginning, you shouldn't be staying in all day being a recluse, that's not healthy, but you need to start to, I'll give you an example. The example of me in the beginning, I was really ill. I had to stay in a lot. I had no choice because I was ill. Like, I had no choice. I couldn't go out anywhere and meet friends because I was really sick. Is it a nice thing to do? No, it's terrible. I hated it. But that's just what you got to do. It's not my fault. It's not Dr. Wilson's fault. It's not the program's fault. All right, now I'm 8 years down the line. All right, now just stopped at my girlfriend's house, you know. But we went to bed early. Got up this morning, had a nutritional balancing breakfast. Had my water, had my supplements. Now I'm off to my grandma's house. I'm gonna nip in my grandma's house. Gonna have a fruit tea with her, chat to her for a bit, see if she's all right. I'm gonna go home, do an enema, and then I'm gonna meet a friend to make some Christmas wreaths. We're going out foraging in nature, making Christmas wreaths. And I'm gonna come back, eat my food, nutritional balancing, take my supplements. And then tonight there's a boxing match on, so I think I'm going to go and watch that with some friends. Now you see the difference. You know what I mean? What I'm doing is completely fine and normal, and I'm living a good quality, healthy life. But at the same time, I'm doing the program. Could I have done that 8 years ago or even 5 years ago? No, I couldn't do it because I was too ill to do that. You know, so try not to get confused about things. You know, Dr. Wilson doesn't want you just to stay in all day and do nothing, but I can understand how that can sort of come across sometimes on the website. Alright, hope that's made sense, and chat to you all soon. Ciao.